Welcome to This Justin, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of This Justin Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from the 2025 Georgia HIMSS Annual Conference at the South District in Atlanta. For those that may not remember, a group of us worked hard about 15, 16 years ago to prove that Atlanta was the health IT capital of America. We had over 300 health IT-focused companies in the metro region, and still a very vibrant community today. That's why the Georgia HIMSS Chapter Annual Conference is the largest healthcare IT conference in the Southeast annually. However, before we get too far, let me welcome my co-host today, Beth Friedman, longtime friend. Great to have you back on the show, Beth.
Thank you, Justin. Great to be here.
That's awesome. And I know we have similar reasons to be here, and we'll dive into that here in a moment. But this actually is my 11th straight year trend broadcasting from a HIMSS annual conference. Started off in 2015 in Chicago for their annual conference, and it's been 11 years straight since then. So I couldn't be more happy, proud. Love the HIMSS family. And again, you and I will talk about, we go back almost 30 years.
Yes.
I think I've been attending HIMSS. I was telling Hal last night at dinner, 24 HIMSS I've been to in the last 30 years. So
yeah.
a lot of good times. And also to that end, we'll be broadcasting live from HIMSS 26 in Las Vegas starting March 9th next year. So look forward to seeing everybody there for sure. These events every year are phenomenal, full of thought leaders sharing best practices and key strategies to successfully navigate the future of healthcare. So look forward to that here today. Look forward to that in March in Las Vegas. For today, though, we have a great lineup of CEOs, CIOs, care providers, and visionaries. As many of you know, my goal for broadcasting live each of the years from these annual HIMSS conferences is to create an information medium that shares best practices, strategies, and actionable intelligence from the industry's leading sources and experts. My goal, along with all my guests, will be to offer tactics and strategies to not only survive, but to thrive as you navigate your hospital, your physician practice, your company, or even your family through all these changes occurring across healthcare. It's more important than ever before that we all of us thrive and must understand how healthcare is evolving, how policy and reimbursement is shifting, and where best practice and innovation can support our efforts. We heard that clearly on Hal's early keynote this morning. So, and I know you now dive into that, and Hal will be coming up here in a moment. But I hope everybody gleans all of that over today's conference, this broadcast, and certainly many of my guests coming up. That's at least my goal. So, Beth, again, welcome. What are you most excited for today in being here?
You know, you referenced it when you talked about Atlanta and Georgia. It is a healthcare hub. And for me personally, I've lived here since 97.
Yep, same here. 97 when I moved here.
Yeah, so it's been wonderful to see the progress, the community of HIMSS, but also the Georgia HFMA, the Georgia ACHE. There's so many associations that just have strong chapters here.
Yes.
We have some excellent health systems. So I look forward to supporting the community. I'm also excited to go to sessions. You mentioned best practices.
Yes.
I love going to sessions and hearing best practices and success at the provider organizations. So I get jazzed about that.
Yeah, you and I talked about that. You were on my show a couple weeks ago, and we talked about how in some of our early days, we were very busy doing a lot of big stuff, having fun, seeing a lot of people, moving shows and conferences along and the industry along. However, we spend a lot of time now in sessions, like you and I learning. And so I love to learn. I went back to school a couple weeks ago as well personally, but I love these sessions, and a lot of it's what we do gets easier, but also it's more complicated in some ways. So you have to get in there and you have to learn. And so that's why, I think that's what we both get from these sessions, and we love them.
Absolutely. So that's what I look forward to today as well.
Yeah, we have 3 great sessions, and I know some of my guests will be talking about that also later on. What progress are you most excited about seeing in the industry today? There's a lot of consternation, but we're finally getting some movement in some areas. But what are your thoughts on progress?
You know, I am most excited about some of the clinical areas. I had a call yesterday with the American Hospital Association, up in Chicago, and they're focused this year on care redesign and clinical decision support. Hal mentioned both of those this morning. So there's some sessions here that are focused on that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that as almost a piggyback to where I was last week. So last week, I was at the Becker's conference in Chicago, and almost every session was talking about the ambient technologies to really support our physician community in their clinical documentation. clinical documentation has been, the burden on our physicians, nurses, any clinician for decades, for a long time, whether it was handwriting, then it went into documenting in the HR,
Yes.
which many physicians quit about, right?
Yes,
They retired when they had to document in the HR. Well, now these technologies are just I was so impressed.
Yep.
To the point where one of the speakers, he said, years ago, physicians would quit over the EHR documentation burden.
Right.
And now they're coming to us and saying, if you don't give us ambient,
Right.
we're not going to work for you and we're going to leave.
Right.
So it's totally flipped the conversation with this technology. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, and take a second there, because ambient listening technology, many of my guests throughout certainly the last year and a half have been bringing up the importance of it. John Holomka is a great friend of the show from Mayo Clinic, and almost every episode, he's been on like 4 episodes in the last year, but every time he comes on, he talks about this episode that or conversation he was having where ambient listen so a doctor had the stethoscope in their ear, and but they had ambient listening going on in the background, and basically the patient did tell the doctor about one of the issues that they're having. The doctor missed it because the stethoscope was in the ear, listening to the patient's heart. Patient was talking, wasn't supposed to at a certain time, but anyhow it was, but the ambient listening picked that up. And so that actually went into the record. So just talk about how, if you're not using these technologies, you actually could be susceptible sometimes of malpractice, just because these are more holistic. Hal brought it up from the stage. John's brought it up a bunch of times of how there's so much peer-reviewed articles, so many best practices coming out. You cannot stay on top of this without using some type of technology, without using AI in those different components, and certainly ambient listening in the exam room, hopefully. But again, AI in general, certainly if you're doing research. And again, it's controversial, but John has brought it up a couple times as well. You could be practicing in the future, not now, but in the future, 3-5 years from now, malpractice if you're not using technology to offer the very best care to your patients.
Absolutely, and to your point, that's obviously the benefit, is capturing that patient conversation.
Yep.
A couple other things they talked about last week was, they call it pajama time. It's when the clinicians go home, they have their day job, they see their patients, and then they're at home after the kids are in bed and they're doing all their documentation.
That's right.
So giving them their lives back,
right.
Making it a career that's just more palatable and more sustainable for a family situation. That from the per human
Absolutely.
perspective, super excited about that. The other benefit, and I don't think they were talking about it as much with the clinician, but the back end processes that can be much better facilitated when this is all digitized and digitized so quickly.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think about when you say pajama time, a lot of my audience, they understand what that is because they're in healthcare. But I mean, just think about the human aspect and the human side of this business of that we're all in. None of us want to go home. We work all day. You want to be with your family. You don't want to go home and call it pajama time. It sounds like a casual term, but no, it's actually you're working when you get home.
It's like
and
job one, job two.
Exactly. You're doing very serious work, documenting care.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can help the doctor with that, be more accurate, give them that time back, give that with their family. They didn't join healthcare to work 15, 20 hours a day and have that kind of pressure and stress on their shoulders. They joined healthcare because they love hearts and want to take care of their community. Yeah. And so if you're actually bringing this, hopefully this back to them and make it much more fun, I think we'll make a lot of good ground.
A study just came out. I apologize, I can't remember who. It was just in the past few days. And they actually looked in EHR time logs to see how much time clinicians were spending in the EHR, but at home.
Right.
It was sad.
Scary.
It was 4, 6, 7 hours a night. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, no, and it's not a high quality of life after a while. So I guess thinking ahead, I mean, we have HIMSS coming up. I'm sure I'll see you in Las Vegas. I'll be there again broadcasting. Look forward to seeing many of these great folks here. Always a good time to learn, as we talked about earlier. What healthcare or digital health trends are you seeing in the industry?
Hal mentioned it in his opening session this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he'll chat with you about that in more depth for our listeners. But this whole thought of where technology in the industry is at one level, traditional medical model is at another level. I'm looking forward to the convergence of those so that together we can really move this industry forward in the next 5 or 10 years, faster than you and I have seen the past 30 even.
I know.
Perhaps, right?
I know. We've been talking about interoperability forever.
Yes.
But
yes.
I do believe we are on the precipice of making some demonstrable changes, certainly with technology, allowing basically AI to help us curate that data. And actually, this is what I'm studying at Stanford right now, is actually how fast we can actually now materialize, certain with data, with healthcare data interoperability, and how the machines can actually do it much better than we can, of categorizing data, finding it, sourcing it, putting it where it needs to be at the right time. We've been talking about that, but now I really believe we are very, very close to having much more advancements in this area. So this is just one simple area near and dear to my heart is interoperability, but I think
and you mentioned a good point, the data curation piece. That's just been such a challenge. So that's another huge advantage if we can get there quickly and be able to curate some of that information from disparate systems, multiple locations. That's always been the challenge.
Which is 90% of healthcare.
Yes.
And
the other thing I think that I like to see, I'm seeing as a trend, I saw last week at the conference, I hope to hear about today too, is how because of AI, it is a different technology. It's constantly learning, constantly evolving. We cannot implement these systems on old, costly processes.
Right.
Hal mentioned that today, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to see provider settings, these innovation departments, or even the CIOs leading the charge.
Absolutely.
Where, you know what, let's revisit this entire workflow from step one and let's totally reconstruct it.
Yes.
It's not like putting in a new EHR, replacing a legacy HR. In those situations, oftentimes you are duplicating old processes just with new tech.
Absolutely true.
I think we are seeing the trend of, you know what, let's break it.
Yep.
And fix it using AI.
Yeah, and I think what you see a lot of the best practices and playbooks being published right now on AI is that if you just, if you're just implementing AI over your current processes, all you're going to do is advance bad processes very quickly. And so you really, to your point, you need to reinvent the process. Let AI absolutely assist you with that, but then also create a much better process. And hopefully, all we talked about before is streamlining your care strategy, making you better, making you a better doctor, hopefully giving you more time in your day, and then obviously hopefully having better interoperability, having a better healthcare system, better care strategy overall. And I think we have some great examples. Some of the CIOs that we have here, even locally in Georgia, are just phenomenal. I mean, Jeff Brown will be coming back here from Piedmont. He just recently retired, but still put Piedmont in such a great position technologically. Chris Paravate is here from Northeast Georgia Health System.
Have you seen that new tower in Buckhead? It's amazing.
Yes, no, I have not seen it.
Beautiful, right?
I've not seen it.
Oh, in Piedmont, the brand new Piedmont Hospital.
I have not.
It's a little bit
south.
south.
Sarasota's been wonderful, so I haven't
been a little south of where Buckhead is, but it's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I did not see that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And also look forward to hearing more about that. So yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty much spot on with what we feel. So, in a closing minute or so, what are you looking forward to for the end of the year? Maybe this fall. Any other shows that you're going to go to? Trade shows, conferences?
So I'll be at the AHIMA conference next week. This is conference season, Justin,
yes,
as you know. I was at Becker's last week, here today.
Yep. And where's AHIMA?
It's in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. Actually, the clinical documentation conversation will be huge there. The other thing I think that I'm putting it out there, 2026 will be the year that we finally automate the coding process.
Yes, I agree.
Because there were about 6 or 7 autonomous coding vendors at Becker's last week. I look forward to seeing them as well next week at AHIMA.
And since we have a second, I'll probably bring that up. Tangential to that is care providers need to be using technology in this area because the payers certainly around denials, and you've got to be able to make sure that you're using technology to the best of your ability. You're leveraging it to protect your organization. You've got to kind of fight fire with fire. So,
for sure.
I know it's near and dear and coding into your heart.
Yes, I work a lot on that payer-provider conversation, the claims, the denials. I saw there was a vendor last week that I was walking through the hall at Becker's, and you see the vendor signs. I've been doing this for a long time.
Absolutely.
I've seen a lot of signage.
Yeah.
It said it was a prior auth company, and instead of saying automate prior auth, it said eliminate prior auth.
Oh.
I thought, there you go.
Wow. Do you remember the vendor's name? That's interesting.
No, I don't.
Very interesting. Well, let's see if they put up. That's great.
Okay.
So, well, Beth, we'd be remiss if we didn't say hi to Roberta Mullen. Roberta helped me launch the show last year. You stepped in. Yes, hi, Roberta. You stepped in this year. I think we'll have to have you both next year. I'll be back, certainly for 2026. I love coming back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's a great community, as you know. We have over 500 people here today. So again, I think it's the largest, at least health IT conference in the Southeast, if not one of the, outside of HIMSS National Annual Conference, it's got to be the largest one that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and to Roberta and Carol's credit, Healthcare Now is growing. Healthcare Now Radio.
Yes.
We're both on that outlet, on that channel, and I've really enjoyed working with them so much.
Oh, phenomenal. Yeah. And remiss certainly for not mentioning them sooner, because the whole show was her idea 11 years ago.
I know, fantastic. Well, Justin, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Have a good rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from the Georgia HIMSS Annual Conference in Atlanta, the Health IT capital of America. Very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Hal Wolf. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Justin, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you. And well, I was going to ask you how your time in Atlanta has been, but I was with you last night at dinner. But obviously, good to be back in Atlanta. And
as always, I have a number of relatives from Georgia, and I grew up a bit in North Florida. We call South Georgia, known as Jacksonville.
Sure. I didn't know you grew up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The wonder years, as they say.
Where'd you go to school then?
Jacksonville Episcopal.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, Atlanta treats you well when you're here.
Always.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, we had a fantastic dinner, a great group like you brought up from the stage. We have a phenomenal society. We have a great group of people. Even my last guest here, Beth, we've been friends for 30 years, and that's this community here. When we first started, we did count, 15, 16 years ago, we had over 300 health IT companies just in the Metro Atlanta region. Yeah. Well, a lot of them spun off from McKesson, HBO and company McKesson, and all of us started different companies throughout the years. And you start one, you start two, you start three, and yeah, it's quite a vibrant. And the biggest thing is we talked about, and you'll see a little bit of this. We have the universities, the educational system, which then feeds our employee base, but then also you have a lot of people who learn kind of up in their ranks. Health IT is not old. I mean, I started in 94, 95, and so 30 years ago. And so now we're all spinning off, we all have companies, we have these employees, but then also we have the health systems that buy our technology. So it's like an ecosystem that kind of feeds on itself
100%.
And supports
and
each other.
It really does. That was the phrase going through my head. It does feed on itself.
Yes,
and
it
it's
does.
a critical loop.
Yeah.
And the closer you are to the healthcare systems and you can do some innovations and some trials and get things flowing, it does give you a good measurement of where your product is.
Absolutely, and allows us to all start somewhere. So, I mean, even Georgia Tech from a technology standpoint, Wellstar from a health system, Piedmont's phenomenal to work with, Emory, Northeast Georgia, they all feed, Atrium, Advocate, they all feed our technologies.
Now, you know that HIMSS started at
In
Georgia
ATDC,
Tech.
yes, ATDC in 1969, something like that. Yeah.
61.
61? Okay, see, there you go. I love that. So as 2025 winds down, I know we got a couple months left in the year. What are you most proud of that you guys accomplished at HIMSS? I heard some cool stats from the stage, but I won't steal your thunder there.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think that our members would say that that's been a phenomenal year of education and growth.
Absolutely.
I mean, the global health ecosystem is under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. And what HIMSS is phenomenal at, as you know, is this network where you can talk to people who are like you, do the same things you do, and do the things you want to do. So you kind of get this, here's where I am, here's where I want to go relationship. And then we get a global perspective because the health ecosystem, the pendulum is swinging all over the place.
It is.
Everything's a snapshot in time. But I think it's our growth that's phenomenal. I mean, well over 130,000 members. We're nearly double where we were 8 years ago, and we will be by the end of this year. We've never had this level of growth, but the demand is there. And when people need support, answers, networking, maturity models, thinking about the digital health indicator model from an analytics, and even just the media side of what's happening in the market, they turn to HIMSS.
Yeah, they do. And HIMSS, again, I always say, I know you'll support this, when you go to an annual conference or you go to any even chapter event, you'll get whatever you want out of it. If you want something specific and you have a goal, you'll absolutely be able to achieve it. You just have to kind of want it and go do it, but there's everything there. Anything that you want to achieve, you can actually achieve if you put the effort in with HIMSS.
I couldn't agree more. And just look at the amazing lineup here in Georgia.
Right. Yeah.
So we have about 1,800 plus members in the Georgia chapter. You have 500 of them here today.
Yeah,
right?
that's significant.
An incredible lineup of speakers.
Yes.
So that's rich when it's on stage. Then people go to working groups. They're in the hallway. And they're getting coffee.
That's right.
Listen to the side conversations.
Right.
It's amazing.
It is.
And then people are walking up and saying, is it strategic? Is it tactical? And, there was a conversation I was just having at coffee, which was, here's what I'm doing in my daily push. And I heard what's coming from a strategy standpoint and from a market thing. How do I make that connection? And, then when you start talking about the indicator and the analytics and all the other pieces. So it's a phenomenal opportunity. And if we don't carve out 6-7 days a year between our chapter events, global conference, et cetera, we're missing so much.
Agree. So take a quick second, take a quick moment here. From stage, you're talking about, you really do need to look at, take a holistic view at your organization, because you can't just put, new technology over old operations. And so talk about a moment about that. It's absolutely true. Certainly with AI, and Beth and I were talking about that before you came on air, about the importance of creating these new, really looking at holistically, really, what can you do differently, and then layer on technology at the right time over this new type of a strategy. But talk about that, please.
Sure. Well, I think it comes down to what's the problem you're trying to solve in your healthcare system at that time. Technology, I have a sneeze coming, so I'm just going to warn you now. Technology is a tool. How you implement it and how you take advantage of it to have less people, faster flow through, things of that nature. You have to change your organization to the tool, not change the tool to match what your organization's doing. So whenever you take something that has really been refined by people who work this globally and working it every single day in the global app ecosystem, and you say, no, you need to change it because our process flow is it. Well, have you actually looked to see your process flow? Have you actually said, gee whiz, I've got 2 people touching the patient when I really only need 1? Do they really need to come in once every 6 months when I can monitor them from home every single day?
Brilliant.
That's the level of rethink that we have to do. Or we just add a really cool shiny button, but we don't change the people and what they do.
Right. No, very well said. So probably along this lines, what progress are you most excited about seeing in healthcare or digital health today?
Probably the careful integration of AI is making a big change. And I do say careful integration because no one's doing it willy-nilly.
Right.
I understand the caution that's out there, and it's appropriately so, but the explosion, or if you would, the acceleration within operations is really going to be a game changer.
Completely agree. And I think it's exciting to see, and that's why these sessions are so important, because some people are starting to do this, and some people are doing it better than others, and then also sharing best practices. But we all, as a community, need to start adopting this, certainly more quickly. But again, solving the right problem, not adopting AI for the sake of adopting or feeling like you're needing to get in, but finding out where it can really make a difference.
100%.
So, love it. As we look towards HIMSS 26, I think it's March 9th is the day we start officially. Yeah. What are you still looking forward to there, and what are some of the themes that we can look forward to there?
Well, I think, the interesting part about every single HIMSS is that it builds on the one before, and then it takes off in different areas. So I think what we're seeing right now, and I touched on it a little bit earlier today, is this incredible moment where the health model and the medical models are kind of either merging or separating apart. We're seeing some incredible so we say keynotes are going to be coming. We'll be announcing them all fairly soon. Early demand, by the way, has been phenomenal. Tickets have been flying out the door.
I've already been booked. I might have been booked for 2-3 weeks now. Hotels book everything. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The other thing that's really neat is that over the last couple of years, the convention area has been under renovation. Now it's all done. So we're actually in one place again.
Okay, good.
And you have to run around different places. Vegas is hard enough to traverse anyway.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you still got to traverse it during the day.
Absolutely.
Right? So that'll be easier for everybody, getting from point A to point B. But the educational programs, of course, will be top on everyone's mind. It's one of the things that really works. The networking will be fantastic. But I think that the major themes right now are how are we going to handle the changes in reimbursement? What are the themes coming out of the current administration? Whether you like them or not, they're there. And so how are we going to deal with that as an industry within North America? And what can we learn globally?
Right.
So you're going to see a strong emphasis from the global part because there are a number of people that are building different mousetraps.
Right.
And we learn as much as we teach.
No, love, first of all, fantastic themes. Totally agree. Even going from the last one first. So even in 2011, there's a group of us, many HIMSS members and even non-HIMSS members went to Cuba to study their healthcare system because they have the lowest infant mortality rate globally because they take care of their moms. You get pregnant 9 months out. You can actually go into a home and they'll take care of you three square meals a day. You get all the medications that you need, and your child is basically taken care of from the moment of inception. So again, that's a great way. That's a great model that we can learn a lot from here in America. So yeah, there's a lot of global best practices that we certainly can bring here. We do a lot of things great here that we export, but we also need to be looking at what can we import, what best practices.
But I think there's a fair argument, there has been for quite a while, that we don't actually have a healthcare system
Right.
in the United States.
Absolutely true.
We have a whole bunch of fantastic institutions. They do amazing work,
Yes.
but it's not a focused energy towards creating a healthcare system. We have a tendency to sort of start that and stop that and start that and stop that.
Right.
Most countries focus on how do I cover everybody, because they recognize that health is an economic responsibility.
Right.
If I have a healthy workforce,
Yep. Right.
living longer and working longer,
Right.
I can compete better economically than if I don't.
Right.
And so this is just one of those
Okay.
funny lessons learned that the U.S. hasn't still caught up to, but it has been taught by a lot of the rest of the world.
Yep. Well said, my friend. Well, Hal, thank you so much, my good friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good to see you again, as always, and I'll certainly see you in March, if not sooner. Thanks for
Looking
being
forward
here.
to it. See
Same
you.
here, my friend. Thank you. And thank you to all my show participants and certainly the people here in the crowd, the listeners, all of my AMD and AWS are great supporters, and certainly Beth Friedman, Finn Partners. You guys are amazing, and the entire HIMSS Georgia board and leadership team for the opportunity to broadcast every single year here. And again, thank you to all my listeners. Please tune in weekdays at this show broadcast 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes or track me on Twitter at HOT Advisor. And use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so I can respond to your comments from the show. If you missed any of this episode or want to hear more, all my shows are posted on YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Megaphone, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn.
You're everywhere, like Roy Kent.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's great. Thanks, everyone, and that's a wrap. Have a great rest of your day.